Legends say Japan's ninja could turn invisible, walk on water, and command the elements. We all know the image, silent assassins in black, moving like phantoms in the night. But what if almost everything you think you know about the ninja is wrong? That the iconic black suit, the impossible powers, the special weapons are mostly myth? The biggest mystery isn't their supernatural abilities or the folklore. That's been hyped up for centuries. The real mystery is how these elite spies, these masters of infiltration, just vanished from history. It's not a disappearance that leaves an obvious clue. It's a fade to black that's hard to pin down. Today, we're separating the hard facts from the Hollywood fiction. We'll uncover the truth behind their legendary skills and confront the real ghost of the ninja, their sudden, silent exit from the world stage. Let's start with that classic image, the ninja, head to toe in a tight black costume. The shinobi shozoku. It's the uniform of the night, right? Well, here's the first reality check. There is zero historical evidence for this costume. The all-black getup was actually a theatrical invention. It comes from Japanese kabuki theater, where stagehands wore all black to seem invisible to the audience as they moved props. This trick was later used to represent ninja on stage, and pop culture completely ran with it. So, what did a real-life ninja shinobi no mono actually wear? The answer is way smarter. Whatever helped them blend in. Their best weapon was deception. A shinobi on a mission wasn't going to wear an outfit that screamed, "I am a spy." They'd look like a farmer, a merchant, a traveling monk, or an entertainer. Manuals like the 17th century Bansenshikai even detail the art of disguise, called hensojutsu, as a fundamental skill. Some of their outfits were even reversible, so they could flip a boring outer layer to a different color to help them escape. They did wear dark colors, but usually navy blue or persimmon-dyed browns. These were the common colors of a peasant's work clothes and blended into the night. Much better than pure black. Being a ghost wasn't about the costume. It was about becoming part of the background. Okay, now for the really wild stuff. Invisibility, walking on water, controlling the elements. This is what turns shinobi into superpowered ghosts. But every myth has a tiny seed of truth. And for the ninja, that truth was all about incredible skill, psychology, and some clever engineering. Let's take invisibility. This wasn't a magic cloak. It was the art of Anshinjutsu basically. Techniques for silent movement and hiding. It involved a deep understanding of human psychology, using darkness, weather, and distractions to stay out of sight. A ninja could vanish by creating a diversion, like a small fire, to draw guards away. They could use plants for camouflage or curl up so still they looked like a rock. Real invisibility was the art of making people believe you were never there in the first place, a masterclass in psychological warfare. And walking on water, again, not magic. This myth probably comes from a tool called the mizugumo, or water spider. Movies show them as special shoes that let a ninja run across a moat. While a few of these things exist in museums, tests have shown they don't really work for walking on water. It is much more likely they were used as snowshoes for swampy terrain, or maybe tied together as a makeshift raft. No sorcery here, just practical, smart thinking to solve a problem. What about controlling the elements? This wasn't about summoning storms. It was about using the environment as a weapon. These techniques, called gotenpie, were all about using nature to escape. Fire techniques meant starting fires for a diversion. Wood techniques meant using trees for cover. Earth techniques meant using the terrain to hide. That classic trick of disappearing in a puff of smoke. That was likely just Metsubushia blinding powder made from ash and dirt, thrown in an enemy's face to cover a quick getaway. They didn't command nature. They were masters at using it. The weapons of the ninja are just as famous as their powers. The star-shaped shuriken, the versatile kunai. But even here, the reality is more practical than the fantasy. The shuriken, or throwing star, is the ninja's calling card in movies. But it was rarely a main killing weapon. Shuriken came in all shapes, including spikes and rods, and were mostly used to distract or slow someone down. You'd throw one at an opponent's hands or face to break their concentration, slow down a chase, or create an opening to draw your sword. They could be coated with poison or something nasty to cause an infection. But throwing one was often a last resort. It was like throwing away money. It was a tactical tool, not a silent killer. And the kunai, often shown as a deadly dagger, had an even more boring origin. It was a gardening trowel, but its pointed tip and solid build made it a perfect multi-tool for a shinobi. It could pry open doors, dig holes, or be used as a climbing pick. In a fight, sure, it could work as a stabbing weapon, but it was a utility tool first and a weapon second. You're probably seeing the pattern here. The historical shinobi was a pragmatist. Their tools weren't fantasy weapons. They were everyday items, brilliantly repurposed for spying, infiltration, and survival. So if ninja were these highly skilled, practical, and effective spies, where did they all go? This is the central puzzle, the vanishing act that no single document can perfectly capture. There was no big final battle, no law that banned them. They just faded away. The rise of the shinobi was tied directly to the chaos of the Sengoku period, Japan's age of warring states from the 15th to 17th centuries. With constant civil war, feudal lords, or daimyo, desperately needed spies for intelligence and sabotage. The ninja, especially from the Iga and KKA regions, filled that need, selling their skills as mercenaries. They were a product of a violent, unstable time. The mystery of their disappearance is answered by what came next: peace. When Tokugawa Ieyasu unified Japan and established a lasting shogunate. In the early 1600s, the constant warfare ended. A strong central government meant the demand for covert warriors just evaporated. So what happened to them? This is how they truly became ghosts. They didn't die out. They integrated. Many were hired by the new government, not as saboteurs, but as guards, spies to keep an eye on regional lords, or even as a kind of secret police. Others simply put down their tools and returned to normal life, becoming farmers and merchants. Their skills were either passed down in secret within their families, or just became obsolete as firearms and modern tactics took over. The ninja vanished from history because they were experts at vanishing. Their final, and greatest, act of invisibility was to simply melt back into the very society they once operated in. Their disappearance wasn't a single event. It was a societal one. It was a slow fade, leaving almost no trace, only legends. They were gone because they were no longer needed. The line between myth and reality gets blurry over time. The story of the ninja shows how a legend can grow to overshadow a much more interesting truth. If you want to keep digging up the secrets hidden in history, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. So, the black-clad assassin from pop culture, a myth born from the theater. The supernatural powers, really just a mastery of skill, psychology, and the world around them. And the great disappearance of these elite spies wasn't some mystical event, but a quiet, gradual absorption into a peaceful society that didn't need them anymore. The legend of the ninja. Ghost the phantom who could walk on water and turn invisible is cool. But the reality of the shinobi no mono is even more impressive. They were masters of adaptation and intelligence whose greatest trick was convincing the world. They were gone, leaving only their incredible stories behind.